About half a tablespoon of olive oil a day was linked to 28% fewer deaths from dementia, and that comes from a 28-year study of more than 90,000 people. But the strange part was, it held up even in people whose overall diet wasn't especially healthy. So this wasn't just olive oil users eating their vegetables, something about the oil itself seemed to matter. But there's a catch to this. A lot of the olive oil that we see at our grocery stores will not do this. The kind you buy makes all the difference, and it's pretty easy to get it wrong. And I'm going to talk about how to pick the right olive oil in just a little bit, but first we have to understand, what is it about olive oil that makes it so beneficial? Well, the answer starts with a compound that most people have never heard of, and it does something that you would not expect from food. This compound acts on the same target as ibuprofen, and it's called oleocanthal, which is what gives you that peppery kick in fresh extra virgin olive oil. And it hits the same COX enzymes that ibuprofen blocks, the ones that drive inflammation. Now, we want to keep it in perspective. The amount that we would consume in a day is a tiny fraction of a painkiller dose. This isn't ibuprofen in a bottle, but what it gives you is a low and steady anti-inflammatory tone. But why would this protect your brain? Well, the common assumption has always been that it's just olive oil being heart healthy. But when researchers accounted for cholesterol and blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease, none of it explained the benefit. So the oil seems to work on the brain more directly. And the leading idea is its polyphenols, oleocanthal included, calm inflammation and oxidative stress inside the brain, and they also protect the blood-brain barrier, which is your brain's security gate. Now, this was an observational study, so we can only infer an association, but it doesn't prove causation. But the link was pretty strong, and it even held up after adjusting for diet and genetics, so things like ApoE4 status. So how do you pick the best extra virgin olive oil? Because there's a lot of bad players out there. Well, we want to treat it as perishable because it's not a shelf-stable pantry item. It actually behaves more like fresh juice, and those fragile polyphenols can fade with time and heat and light. And there's three things you want to look for. So first, look for a harvest date on the label, and we want one that's early harvest, and ideally we want to use this olive oil within 18 months of harvest date, and the fresher the better. And two, you want a dark bottle or a tin can, but never clear glass, because UV light degrades those essential antioxidants. And then three is the taste test. You want it to be peppery enough to catch your throat and even make you cough. And the burn is the oleocanthal that we want. So if you ever get a smooth or buttery oil, well, that one's probably already lost a lot of its therapeutic benefits. And then there's some debate whether you want to use olive oil for cooking. High heat can cost you some polyphenols, but overall it's pretty stable for low temperature cooking. And of course, the simplest way to use it is to just drizzle it on a salad, or you can just take a tablespoon straight up.